Derek, great to see you.
Hey, good to see you, Will. Thanks for having me here.
What do you make of this Liz Simmons who's behind the man you would like to replace, Jon Ossoff?
It doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, all you got to look at is Jon Ossoff's voting record. And you can see that these two guys are two peas in a pod because he votes 98% for Joe Biden. He does everything against what President Trump's doing. And listen, I drive around the state all over. It doesn't reflect what the people of Georgia want. And so it doesn't surprise me at all, given his record, that these people are supporting him because this socialist agenda that he has, we need new leadership in Georgia. And that's why.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. It's so funny to me, the people that they trounce out to support these candidates. I mean, Jon Ossoff just did an email with J.B. Pritzker, and they had him headline their dinner, which they don't call the Jefferson Jackson dinner anymore. They call it the Carter Lewis dinner. And what's interesting to me is that J.B. Pritzker, the people that J.B. Pritzker will appeal to are already going to vote for Jon Ossoff. And they're not helping themselves, but hey, I say keep doing it. Anyway, Derek Dooley is here with me today, and Derek has been on the campaign trail about 3 months now, and has it been 3 months? It seems like it. It's every day's a long day. But welcome back to the program. How are you?
Hey, Martha, it's great to be back, and you think every day's a long day. I think they're all too short. I've just enjoyed so much hitting all four corners of the state. I get in my truck every day and going to meet the great people of Georgia, and we've had a lot of momentum building. There's a lot of enthusiasm, and I think everybody right now wants some new leadership in Washington.
So tell me, as you've been around, because, Lord, this is something that's not that new to you. Campaigning may be different, but when you were coaching, you would go around the country and talk to people in their homes. You would do all those kinds of things. But what are some of the things you've learned that have surprised you as you've been getting around on the road?
Nothing really has surprised me, Martha. What it's really done is reinforced what I already thought, and one of the reasons that I got into this race. I think on one hand, there's just a lot of disdain for D.C. politics. Everybody's frustrated, and there's no greater example than what we're dealing with right now with a government shutdown. And I just think that everybody wants some new leadership, somebody that's going to go up there and put all their energy on delivering results for the people, not for somebody's political career or political ambition or what the party wants, but instead they're up there focused on serving the people of Georgia. And, you know, we've had a lot of great senators from our state in the past who have done that, and they've been models for the future. And that's certainly why I'm running, because we need some new leadership in the Senate in Georgia.
So what do you see as the biggest issues that you're seeing as you talk to folks?
Well, it always starts with safety and the economy, Martha. And, you know, I go around and talk to business leaders and people in the community from all walks, and they're all different industries, but we all want the same things. Everybody wants to be safe. Everybody wants to be able to have a good job, and everybody wants to be able to afford things so that they can raise a family and have a comfortable life. And there's a lot of issues right now that we need to do better to get some of those things more workable. And what I found is I always ask this question: how can the federal government help? How can the federal government help? How can it help your business? How can it help you personally? About 8 out of 10 times, the thing that I found is the federal government needs to get the heck out of the way and let our hardworking Georgians go to work, our businesses go to work and create jobs. But there are certain areas, and certainly the agriculture is one of the biggest ones, where the federal government needs to intervene and needs to provide some relief and needs to help our families and our industry leaders in Georgia. And so it's just been a great learning experience, and it helps me really shape on some of the things that are going to be a priority for me as a senator.
So this is a really different government shutdown than the last one that we had. I was working for Senator Perdue in the last shutdown, and President Obama went out of his way to make the shutdown as painful as possible by shutting down parks and things like that. And President Trump has moved some tariff money so that the WIC payments will continue. He's moved some money around so the military will continue to get paid. But what are you hearing as you are out on the road related to the government shutdown?
it's D.C. politics at its worst. And I think it's another example. Everybody just rolls their eyes. Congress's line one job is to fund the government. And that's their number one priority, and they can't get it done. Now, what's interesting today, though, Martha, is there is a little update. You talked about funding the military. Well, there's 12 bills that Congress has to pass into law in order to fund the federal government. Well, one of them has to do with defense, paying our troops, funding the military. And what Senator Thune has done is says, listen, can we at least agree that during this shutdown, we should go ahead and pass this one bill into law so we can fund our military, fund our troops. And so that's going to be on the floor today. And as you know, John Ossoff, our senator, has voted, I think, 8 or 9 times, maybe more, to keep the government shut down. It will be interesting to see if he can stand up one time against his party or Chuck Schumer or AOC or whoever it is and do what's right for the military and vote for funding the military. And so, we have thousands and thousands of military personnel active duty in our state, and I hope that gets passed at minimum.
Yeah, absolutely. And there needs to be some work done. And I mean, Ossoff cannot, he got 50.6% of the vote. But as you pointed out in the audio that I played, he votes 98% with the Democrats. I mean, I never thought that I would say John Fetterman sounds like the most reasonable Democrat out there when he was running for election, but he understands that he lives in a state that's split, and he's gone as far as saying the radical thing that he has friends and neighbors that are Trump supporters, and they're not bad people. We need more of that kind of conversation, Derek, not less.
Martha, it's called leadership.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many times I've said leadership matters. And listen, I give Senator Fetterman credit because he puts his country and his state over his party. That's what good leaders do. We're going to get elected by the people of Georgia. And so my priority is I'm putting the people of Georgia first, all Georgians. And you can't sit there and go up there and you're focused on your own political career or whatever the party tells you. That's not what good leadership is. And so I commend him for crossing over. I think there's 3 Democrats who now have supported opening the government up. We don't need many more, but it just confuses me. Actually, it doesn't. It does not confuse me that John Ossoff hadn't voted for it, because all you got to do is look at his voting record over the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, there are a number of senators, and what I've been telling everybody every day is that you need to call the local offices of Senator Ossoff and Senator Warnock and tell them they need to vote to open the government. And then there's about 6 others in states that Trump won, and you don't call them if you live in Georgia. And I always tell them this: you've got to find your friends and neighbors that live in those states and get them to call. Because if you call from Georgia to Colorado, or if you call from Georgia to Arizona, they're just going to put it in the circular file. What you've got to do is be involved in your own state. And I loved what you said, Derek, about serving the state, because the United States Senate has become too much about caucus and not enough about constituent. And we have got to get back to where your first priority is the state of Georgia, or the state you were elected by, and not this pretty group of people, this club that you belong to that is your caucus.
You're speaking my language, Martha. And, it's not John Ossoff's seat. It's not the Democratic Party seat. It's not the Republican Party seat. It's the people of Georgia's seat. And so whoever is in that seat, that's who they represent. And I think too many people go up to D.C. and they get intoxicated with the power. They get so consumed with the politics that goes on up there and accruing power, and they start making decisions that are based on their personal gain over the people of Georgia and over the people of other states. And that's one of the main reasons I'm running, because I'm frustrated with it. It's why we have so much sort of standstill in our government. And so the only way we're going to change it is to start sending different people up there. And that's the mood I've gotten as I've gone all around the state. And I think we're going to make a big change come November.
Absolutely. Derek Dooley, if people want to help you, how can they do that?
DooleyForGeorgia.com. Listen, I've said we need votes, but we also need money. Don't forget, John Ossoff is getting totally funded by states like California. He's going to have hundreds of millions at his defense, and so we need a little something to counter that. And if you believe in what I'm saying, I hope you'll go on our website and support me. But the most important thing for me, Martha, is me getting out and meeting the people of Georgia, rolling up my sleeves, shaking hands, delivering my message. And what I ask everybody is, if you believe in what I'm saying and you believe in the kind of leadership style I represent, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and let's get this momentum even bigger.
So one final question, probably the most important question. Georgia is 7.5 point spread ahead of Ole Miss. Can they beat Ole Miss? I know I'm a little nervous about that. If I'm being honest.
You buried the lead. Well, I'm not going to sit here and talk about the betting lines, but I will tell you, everybody, it's amazing. You can get spoiled real fast as a Georgia fan because it is absolutely remarkable the job Kirby Smart has done, and he's winning these games. It's so much like the way Alabama won, where there's all these games that happen, and you go, there's no way they should have won that game. But that's when you have a tremendous culture, a lot of great players, a lot of great coaching, the players just know no matter what happens in the game, they're going to pull through. And that's what I expect them to do, Ole Miss. But I'm not going to speak on the line, Martha. That's for everybody else to debate.
That's right. Derek Dooley, thank you so much. You knew I had to ask you a football question. You knew that because I love it.
All right.
Thank you.
Look forward to coming back, Martha. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll take a break and then we'll talk more.
Our youth are our future. This is Phil Benelli, and on the next edition of North Georgia Business Radio, Tammy Wilder of Positive Impact International joins us. Learn how they address the needs of students and teachers alike Saturday at 3 on WDUN. Always here, always local.
The biggest and best gun show is the Eastman Gun Show, and it's coming for the first time ever to the Jackson County Agricultural Facility in Jefferson. This weekend, Eastman rolls into town with the best selection of guns, knives, hunting rifles, scopes, clips, shotguns, and accessories you've ever seen in one place. Bring your family rain or shine. We have everything for the lovers of the right to bear arms. Saturday 9 to 5, Sunday 10 to 4 at the Jackson County Agricultural Facility. Eastman Gun Shows, proud supporters of the Second Amendment.
Fall is planting time in North Georgia. This is Julie from Full Bloom Nursery, and now is the perfect time to plant pansies, perennials, shrubs, and trees. Planting in the fall gives your new plants time to become established without the stress of heat and dry weather. We've got over 4 acres of plants for you to choose from, so come see us for all your fall projects. Our knowledgeable staff will help you pick out the right plant for the right spot. Be sure to like us on Facebook and visit us on the web at fullbloomnursery.com.
You already know Gainesville Mechanical for their award-winning HVAC service, but did you know they handle plumbing too? Because plumbing problems never happen at a good time, you need a trusted, experienced team there when they do. From small leaks to major repairs, Gainesville Mechanical is here for you with 24/7 no overtime rates through their Customer Assurance Maintenance Plan. Proud to be named Best of Hall for HVAC and plumbing, Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep North Georgia cool since 1989.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, Gainesville City School System releases its ATC scores for the class of 2025, showing significant improvements. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical, from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
I'm going to break from the party line here on this. I'm a Democrat. I'm with John Fetterman and Angus King. The problem I see here is that, to pass the budget, you need 60 votes in the Senate. And what is happening each year now, and what I fear is going to happen in the future, is the minority party wants to link that to some other very, very important issue. Affordable health care is critical, obviously, but I fear that this is going to happen every year, every September, October, November. The most basic function of Congress is to fund the government, turn the lights on, keep the government working so that the 3 million people who are public servants are able to do what they do to serve all the rest of us.
So you think that Democrats should vote to reopen the government?
I believe that Congress should vote to reopen the government. There apparently you need 7 Democrats to make that happen in the Senate. I think that the mistake our democracy is making is linking the need for that 60 votes to some other issue, even though it's a very, very critical issue, because what's going to happen is that this will occur every fall from this point forward.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, a very reasonable Democrat, and there are some of those folks out there. They've made the decision, though, the Democrats, that they want to be in this, they want to be shut down when this big protest happens this weekend in D.C., and maybe it will be a big one. My sense is that they're having trouble getting people to come. And I'm sure it'll be a lot of paid people, but it's called the No Kings thing. We'll see what happens with that. But I want to reiterate to you again that we've got these senators out there. So we've got 3 already that are with us. If we get to 59, which we're at 55, if we could get to 59, which is 4 more, then I think Rand Paul would come back and move back over, because he's been voting no or yes for the shutdown, or no on the bill, yes to keep the government closed. That gets confusing, but he's the one Republican. Here are the states that have people that Trump won the state and they're up for re-election. Georgia, of course, is one of them. Call John Ossoff's Atlanta office, okay? But it's a couple of other ones. Gary Peters from Michigan, okay? Jack Reed from Rhode Island. They would be a good one to vote, to call. Tina Smith from Minnesota. Mark Warren from Virginia. Even though Virginia went for Kamala, it wasn't very close, okay? You also have a lot of other senators that are up for re-election this time that could be voted on. I'll give you a full list of those states later on in the program so that you can write them down. Now, I haven't been back with you. I've been off for the last 3 days since the release of the hostages. And tomorrow we're going to go really in depth in where we are now, 5 days out from this agreement. But it was a pretty monumental day that you had the Monday speech to the Knesset that President Trump made. An hour later, Bibi Netanyahu and President Trump are on a stage with a bunch of Arab leaders, including Hamas. I think one of the problems with Hamas keeping this deal is there really is no leader of Hamas anymore. So I'm not sure who signed that agreement, but they're in factions. Okay, they're fighting now in factions. So we're seeing some of that on the ground in Gaza. And, the Israelis have moved closer again. There's not as much aid going in because there is these assassinations that are happening on the street of people that they say were collaborating with the Israelis. And, they're lining people up in the street and murdering them in front of their families. And I know there's, our good friend Ed always has this story about, well, what about this and what about that, about what IDF soldiers did. Every single report that has been presented as IDF soldiers did X. They shot a baby in the head. That's the one Ed always pulls up. That's not proven. That's not anything out there, and it's not something the IDF does. Okay? They do not shoot children in the head. Okay? That's just not what they do. And you also can see some of these stories about bodies being returned to the Palestinians and saying that the bodies were bound and all this. So that's not true either. Okay? And I think that Trey Yingst is one of the really good reporters over there. Anderson Cooper is a really good reporter that has been in Israel. You got to really wade through. You cannot believe the stuff that you see on X, by and large. You've got to check it, triple check it, quadruple check it before you go and repeat it, okay? And so I'm very encouraged that the hostages came home. I'm encouraged that some of the bodies have come back, but already Hamas is not fulfilling what they promised to do. They say they can't find them all, okay? I kind of think they don't have them, okay, but they don't want to say so. Because really, how would they have been keeping these bodies for 2 years? What condition would these bodies be in? I don't think it's unusual, but they need to stop lying about it and just say, hey, we don't have them, okay? But President Trump has been very clear, and I think you can take him at his word. If they do not disarm, then they will be disarmed, and it will be quick, and it will be violent. And if you don't agree to this, because the Arab world has said they want peace. The Arab world has said they want peace with Israel. Nobody could do that other than Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and President Trump. And honestly, can you imagine if Ivanka Trump had not met Jared Kushner and what a pivotal role he has played in this? He wouldn't have been working on this problem. This problem may not have happened. I don't know. But pretty amazing to think that one marriage led to someone who could help in the way he did of bringing peace to the Middle East through the promise of prosperity. Lots more to come. We're going to bring it back home next. Stay with us.
Fall in and save big at Krause Family Hyundai. This fall, drive a new Hyundai Santa Fe with as low as 0% APR financing, or lease a new Hyundai for as little as $239 a month. And every new Hyundai comes with America's best warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty and Hyundai Assurance. With hundreds of new Hyundais to choose from, you can get it all this fall. Visit KrauseFamilyHyundai.com for full details and see us on Atlanta Highway exit 16 off 985.
Rise and shine with M&R Equipment and Rental. Your project success is our first job of the day. Whether it's landscaping, construction, or home renovation, we've got your back with our wide range of high-quality tools and equipment. We make starting your day easy. Simply pick your tool, choose your rental period, and get down to business. No job is too big or small. From saws to skid steers, we've got you covered and at prices that won't break your budget. Visit us at mnrrental.com. We're here to help you build a brighter tomorrow.
This fall, give your lawn and food plots the winning edge with Limelight Pro. Now at Farmers Exchange in Cleveland. Limelight Pro is a premium, fast-acting pelletized lime that helps balance soil pH, unlock nutrients, and boost plant growth. Easy to spread, quick to work, and perfect for a fall application. Whether growing grass, gardens, or game plots, get the results you want with Limelight Pro. Farmers Exchange, your hometown partner for a stronger, greener season.
It's week 10 of Friday game night. On AM 550, Chester T's on the road to face Dawson County. On FM 102.9, North Hall hosts Lumpkin. And on 94.5 FM, Gainesville hosts Chattahoochee. Coverage begins at 6 with the Prep Tailgate Show presented by Conditioned Air Systems on North Georgia's News Talk. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 9:30.
Fox News, I'm Therese Crowley. Day 16 of the government shutdown. President Trump working on thousands of jobs and agencies to start cutting Friday. GOP Senator Ted Cruz tells Fox.
Republicans voted over and over and over again to reopen the government. The Democrats voted no.
The government, I believe, will stay shut down at least for another week because, as you mentioned, the No Kings rally is on Saturday.
A chance for Democrats to rally their left-wing base, while a San Francisco federal judge has blocked federal layoffs. Hamas says it's returned all the hostage bodies it can recover to Israel, 19 still missing. Oklahoma schools' Bible mandate is being rescinded. State Department of Education Tara Thompson explains the superintendent's decision under court order.
It's less about taking a stance and more about giving control back to the local school boards and the local school superintendents in those communities.
5,000 Bibles already hit classrooms. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. A fundraiser has now been started for a family of victims of Monday's deadly crash on I-85 in Jackson County. WDUN's William Daughtry reports.
8 people were killed Monday afternoon when their van was rear-ended by a tractor-trailer on 85 near Commerce. Tony Alvarenga, who says the victims were his family members, has since set up a GoFundMe to try to cover funeral expenses for the family. You can find a link to the GoFundMe at Access WDUN. The driver of the truck that caused the collision has been arrested on a list of charges, including multiple counts of second-degree homicide by vehicle.
Gwinnett County's law enforcement is taking extra precautions to help residents remove and dispose of unwanted or expired drugs from the community. All precinct headquarters with Gwinnett County Police will now have Narcex medication disposal receptacles in their main lobbies. Residents can dispose of expired or unwanted pills, tablets, and capsules during normal weekday business hours. A release from Gwinnett Police says the receptacles will help the community to avoid accidental misuse of drugs and to prevent environmental contamination from improper disposal. And more college degrees are going out to Georgia students than ever before. University System of Georgia says 82,000 students earned degrees in fiscal year 2025. That's a jump of close to 8% from year to year. More news at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
North Georgia, lots of sunshine, and by the time the afternoon rolls around, we'll be in the mid to upper 70s for highs. We do keep things clear through the evening. Lows overnight near 51. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Young Harris, 59 degrees. Easton Ollie, 61. And in Gainesville, 63. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
At Jackson EMC, innovation is an ongoing cycle, a process without a beginning or an end, where one idea leads to the next. Solar power, electric vehicle programs, energy-efficient right choice homes, automated switch technology. What we do as an industry is vital. We keep communities powered, so we must always have an eye on the future. Jackson EMC, innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow.
For more than 40 years, Eagle Ranch has provided a community of support for children and families with significant challenges. I'm John Vardaman, a proud Gainesvillian and a longtime friend and supporter of Eagle Ranch. I've watched the ranch grow from a dream to a pillar in our community. It now offers outpatient counseling and a day school alongside its residential program. In all this change, Jesus Christ is still at the center. Learn more at eagleranch.org.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and a couple of weeks ago, Emory Donahue came on this program and announced that he would not be seeking re-election, and a person got in the race. There may be more than one, but I know there's one, and Chad Bingham's here with me right now. He's going to be running in that race. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
So tell the folks about you first.
Well, my name is Chad Bingham. I'm an entrepreneur, small business owner. My wife and I have been married for 20 years and have attended Free Chapel for 17 years over here in Gainesville, now Brazelton campus. I've got 4 kids, everywhere from 17 to 7, and just a big into service from Rotary to Chambers and everything. I was a county commissioner, and it's just in my heart to serve, and I just believe this is the next step the Lord wants me to take. So this is where we're headed.
So tell us why State House appeals to you.
Well, I think there's some opportunities. Obviously, Jackson County being the fastest growing county in the state of Georgia doesn't have a representative at all. We don't have a House or Senate person that lives in Jackson County. And there's just some things that that need to be addressed. And, I was telling somebody the other day, whenever you have to sit in the traffic and drive over the potholes when you go to work, like you don't have to be reminded when you go down to Atlanta to make some phone calls, right? And it's just one of those things that I just think that that's the next logical step after being a county commissioner. I know what the county needs. I know what they're up against. I know what the departments are facing. And then obviously being a business owner, I also know what our local folks are after as well. So I think that's just a unique opportunity for somebody like myself to step up and really help. So
what kind of business are you in?
So I'm an insurance agent, broker. We're an independent agent. So we've been open now for 12, 13 years. And, it's been great. The community has been really, really good to us. And we have multiple locations and sell into several states now. So, but it's been really good.
So how are you going to manage that if you win?
So fortunately, I have a really, really good staff. The ladies at my office are phenomenal, and the funny part is most of them have been office managers at an agency before. So they really manage and run themselves, and it is really treated as each one of their desks is a small business. Like they have their set of clients that they're responsible for and paid for, and all of that. So, but yeah, the staff, the people is always the answer. The really, really good people.
So how long have you been county commissioner?
So I was a county commissioner a little over a year, ran for the chair and then lost that seat. And then after that, the next conversation I had was with Marty Clark, who is the chairman there now. And we talked about running for the House, and
that's what you're doing now.
Yeah. So
it's funny because county commissioners, I think, are really an important position, but it's really difficult to run for other offices after you've done that because you're always going to make somebody mad, right? Sure. I mean, it doesn't matter. And then they see you in the grocery store and they see you, wherever. It's sort of true to some degree with state house seats too, because you're in the community. But county commission is a really tough position to come out of. What do you think you learned from that experience that you're going to take to the state house?
So for me, it really is about your principles and who you are. And my dad taught me from, when I was young, let your yes be yes and your no be no, and know where you stand and why you stand there. And I think I learned that when I was a county commissioner. You think you know that until you have to make that call, and you're talking about, somebody's rights or somebody's opportunity that they want to, and you're the judge, so to speak. When it comes down to, do you give the rezoning? Do you not do the rezoning? Do you give the special use? Do you not? Like, you're affecting someone's livelihood in some cases.
So what are your positions on the big issues, and what do you see as the big issues in this race?
So, I mean, I'm a physical conservative. I am pro-life. Matter of fact, I got a question the other day. Someone called and asked about that Georgia. Somebody was floating around the idea of the assisted suicides in Georgia, and where would I stand on that? And I said, well, can you really be pro-life and be for, assisted suicides? And the answer is no. And obviously, just with my Christian faith and background, I mean, that's just where my compass comes from, and where I'm, I make decisions from, right? And I look at my kids and say, if this decision is going to be left to them, what do I want to leave them with? And that's really where I make my decisions from.
So and I know you've only been campaigning for a few weeks, but as you've gone around, has there been anything that surprised you that people asked you about, or has it just solidified the issues you thought that were big that were out there?
Yeah, it really has solidified most of the issues. I tell you, the one thing that really kind of caught me off guard was the pension stuff for the firefighters. I don't know if you guys know what's going on. I think it's Senate Bill 143. Where the firefighters, if they take their pension, have to retire and they can't work at all. And I told somebody, I said, well, if my house were on fire or my family were in trouble, I'd want the most qualified people to show up. I don't understand I don't understand all the details of it, of course, but that's one of those things with first responders we got to figure out.
Those government pension plans. My sister was a longtime teacher in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little different, but the same kind of thing, a government pension plan. And she paid into the plan and retired, and then took a job working as a receptionist at the hospital. Well, the hospital was a state-run hospital, so it had the same plan, and that messed everything up. So she ended up having to quit that job and go to a private situation. She could work, but it still was it made no sense to me that I get being fully vested and having a plan where you can't, maybe get any more benefits than what you're going to get. I understand that part of it, but if you can retire in your 50s, most of us, I'm 66. I don't see, I'm working differently than I did when I was 46.
Sure.
But I'm self-employed and I am going to keep working. If somebody told me you can't keep working, that would be silly.
Yeah, well, and let's be honest, the people who are affected by this the most are your captains, your chiefs, the folks who are doing the training and trying to pass down that knowledge. I even had one of them say, hey, I've lost over $30,000 just in, because I've chosen to stay and work. And I don't understand all the details. Someone said, well, the pension would go bankrupt or the money. I said, well, if he retires, you're going to pay him. If he moves to another state and becomes a firefighter in South Carolina, you're going to pay him. What's the difference in paying him while he's working here and us keeping that knowledge and experience here, locally in our state? Should
we repeal the income tax?
Well, that's an interesting question. We
are stepping it down a little.
Yeah, I get it.
To be fair.
Yeah. So I'm a big fair tax, consumption tax person myself. I don't like things like property tax and income tax from that standpoint, because if even with property tax, do you really own your property? If don't pay the taxes, then find out you don't. But yes, I would much rather move toward a consumption kind of a tax, and that be how we go, to be honest.
So if you're elected, what do you see as maybe, how you're going to approach this? I mean, do you have a bill that you want to go ahead and start doing? Are you going to watch for a while? How are you going to approach this if you're elected?
So I don't really have any kind of a bill that I'm sitting on thinking, hey, I've got to go fix this. I really believe in walking into a situation like that and learning for a little bit and listening. There are some opportunities, obviously, with the county, things that I'd like to address and start moving forward. But as far as a bill affecting the state, I don't really have any topic I want to see.
Yeah, Jackson County is one of those really interesting things because it, they kind of planned for the growth because they knew that all that 85 access with the way we had this kind of triangle from 985 to 85 and then the crossover there. I mean, I remember talking to, E.E. Culpepper, 20 years ago about that kind of growth that they were looking towards. So it's one of those things. And, Jackson County is going to keep growing.
Oh, yeah.
And right now it's a pretty affordable place to live. And that's the thing I hear the most especially from the young people that I mentor. Okay, so I'm a boomer. All right, I'm in the last year of the baby boom. My husband and I are both boomers. And we can pretty much weather anything that comes along economically because we've been saving for the last 40 years for that purpose. And we've been self-employed. So everything we do has been, everything we do, we've either earned or earned interest on because we're self-employed.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, there are a lot of other people that are having difficulties, in areas, and especially in that kind of 25 to 35 group that are out there buying their first home and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've said the same thing. We have folks who come out of school and they're teachers or they are firefighters or first responders, and the amount of money that they make right now to be able to buy their first home is really, really difficult.
Absolutely.
And that's just
I
about
think
anywhere. But
they're saying the average age to buy your first home now is 38.
Wow, I hadn't heard that.
And that's just crazy.
Yeah.
I am seeing prices go down a little bit. I've noticed that there's a few more houses that are in that 300 to 350 range, which still I can't believe is an entry level price point, but it is around here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is absolutely.
And so I'm seeing a little bit of movement there. I think that's really important, even though a lot of it depends upon interest rates, which is out of your control.
Sure.
But I think that affordability is really big.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, I was talking with a friend of mine who's in the building industry, and they've seen the slowdown from sales and even affecting the prices. And I've talked to our school superintendents and other people who are in the middle of building. And now that they're getting their, final quotes in for the actual builds, it's millions in some cases. So, Yeah, you're absolutely right. We are starting to see the prices start to come down of the materials and everything else. So hopefully it gets there, and people can start getting into their first homes.
So we're talking to Chad Bingham. He's running for the State House seat that is being retired from by Emory Donahue. That is State House, remind me, 31. I think for a while it was 30.
Yeah.
It was, wasn't it?
I think it
and
was,
that's
yeah.
why my brain gets stuck there. But anyway, 31. And, if people want to help you, how can they do that?
Yeah, so the easiest way to help us, reach out to us on our website, Bingham for State House. And, you can sign up for the newsletters. You can donate, anything like that. Let us know that you're interested in helping us. Or you can call me on my cell phone, 678-628-3833.
You're very brave.
That's okay.
We're gonna I know my number's been out there for 30 years, so believe me. And I got to tell you, there have been twice that people have kind of went across the border,
Sure.
of good behavior. Let's just put it that way. But not very often.
You get it as a commissioner on occasion. People get upset.
They do.
It's okay,
they
though.
do. It's okay. Congratulations on
thank
your
you.
run, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
We'll take a break. Lots more to come. We'll be here with the Martha Zoller Show.
On Thursday's edition of The Drive at 5, we'll talk to Kimberly Sizemore about what events are happening around the area this weekend. Join us at 5 o'clock here on North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
This is Nick
and Laura from
Nichols Body Shop. We want you to know it's your choice who repairs your vehicle.
Do not assume you can get the best repair for the cheapest price.
Every shop is different.
We work for you, our customer, to give you the best repair possible.
Learn more by calling 770-967-8200 or come by the shop. Estimates are always free.
You can also find us on Facebook at Nichols Body Shop,
the home of quality repairs
and old-fashioned service.
I'm willing to wager that when you cook, you don't skimp on quality. At Loretta's Country Kitchen, we don't either. This is Grant Nichols at Loretta's, where we use only the best ingredients, including Springer Mountain chicken tenders, canned sauces, Hormel bacon, and Jimmy Dean sausage. It's also why we make our biscuits from scratch every day. We don't compromise on quality, and neither should you. Enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner with us, and bring your friends. Loretta's Country Kitchen, Monday Mill Road, Oakwood, where it's all good.
The biggest and best gun show is the Eastman Gun Show, and it's coming for the first time ever to the Jackson County Agricultural Facility in Jefferson. This weekend, Eastman rolls into town with the best selection of guns, knives, hunting rifles, scopes, clips, shotguns, and accessories you've ever seen in one place. Bring your family rain or shine. We have everything for the lovers of the right to bear arms. Saturday 9 to 5, Sunday 10 to 4 at the Jackson County Agricultural Facility. Eastman Gun Shows, proud supporters of the Second Amendment.
Have you been driving 25 in a 55 mile per hour zone? Are your passengers concerned about your vision? Don't let glare at night or in the rain slow you down. Hi, this is Kim. Here at Advanced Eye Center, we offer all laser LASIK, clear lens exchange, specialty lenses with laser cataract surgery, as well as contacts and designer glasses. Our doctors handle a wide variety of vision problems for people of all ages and are skilled at providing fantastic solutions. Come see why we're voted best in Hall County year after year. Advanced Eye Center, vision correction for all ages.
What if I need to go into a nursing home? Will I lose my home? This is Kevin Tharp, elder law and estate planning attorney, and I'm here to give you some good news. The short answer is no. You will not lose your home if you need to transition to a nursing home. But there's steps that you need to take. I've made it my mission in life to help folks in your situation, but you need to make the first call. Visit my website at kevintharp.com and learn how to get help planning for the rest of your life.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, a new hearing is ordered for a Gwinnett County man convicted of killing his 2-year-old son over 20 years ago. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical, from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Donald Trump shows me what's politically possible. Trump shows me what presidents can do if they want to do it. Donald Trump shows me what can be said if you are willing to say it. It's not about what can't be done. It's about who has the political will to do it. I don't want to hear a peep from Democrats about nothing until they get the to say what's really on their mind in regards to this country and this world. Trump doesn't care if it sounds ridiculous. Trump doesn't care if it makes sense. It's no political correctness whatsoever. As I've been saying for years, the language of politics is dead, and Donald Trump killed it, period.
So that's Charlemagne the God from the show called, what's that show called, Logan? The Morning something?
Is it the Breakfast Club? Is that a show?
Breakfast Club. That's right. I was going to say the Morning Club. It's the Breakfast Club. And look, he's a progressive, a lefty, all of that. But he is saying what a lot of people are thinking, and especially in the African-American male community. They are saying, wait a minute, we like the idea that this guy fights, meaning Donald Trump. We are tired of having people talk about what we can and can't do. We want people to talk to us straight. And that's what he's saying Donald Trump's doing. And look, if you can't, there's a lot of people that cannot give him credit for what has happened this week. And that they're going to pick on the things that aren't going right with this deal. And look, I'm concerned about the things that aren't going right with this deal. But Donald Trump was able to bring Arab countries together, Western European countries. They were beating each other up to get to that signing in Egypt from the Western European countries that had recognized the Palestinian state. And they even tried to say that they helped bring it to the table. Biden and Anthony Blinken said, oh, they're the ones that put this in place. But you know what? Yeah. I'm going to go what Hank Kamenstein said to me, who was our president of Riches when I first became a buyer. It doesn't matter if you had the idea first if you can't implement it. Okay? Maybe Joe Biden had the idea first, and I say hooray to that if that's the case. But he didn't know how to implement it. His people couldn't make it happen because he wasn't respected. And it's because Donald Trump has used the threat of American power. And it's not just a threat. They showed it in Iran in June. So this whole thing kind of started in June. It started before that, but in earnest in June. So you had first that meeting in Saudi Arabia where the president made that amazing speech where he said to the Arab world, we are not trying to change you, but we want to be prosperous with you. Because the underlying current of that is all of these radical Islamist people that are moving around to Western countries and leaving their own countries, but yet they're trying to turn these Western countries into Islamic countries. That's not what Donald Trump's talking about. Donald Trump is talking about, we don't want to change you. If you go immigrate to another country, you should not be trying to change them into your country. Okay? If you immigrate, you should be assimilating into that country. If you want to change it into your country, you should not leave your country. Okay? That's a very simple thing. But it started in June where we had this situation of this great speech that Saudi Arabia did, or that he did to Saudi Arabia. And then a week later, it was about a week later, he did the attack on Iran. And it wasn't a prolonged thing. He went in, he got the business done, he destroyed the nuclear program. So now the funding for all of these Iran-backed terror organizations is not there anymore. So, of course, Hamas, what we have to be prepared for in this Israeli deal, okay, is Hamas is in chaos right now. Okay? They don't have a direct leader, they don't have a direct organization, and they don't have any money coming in to pay these fighters. And so these fighters are creating their own little tactics. I mean, there's some evidence to show that this person that got, these people that got assassinated, and I'm going to call it an assassination, executed, because they were so-called collaborating with Israel. Well, I don't know if those are direct Hamas fighters that did that, because Hamas is in disarray. They are collapsing because they don't have any money, they don't have any structure, and if you take young men with guns and you're not paying them anymore, then bad things happen. We learned this the hard way in Iraq when Paul Bremer disbanded, and this was the biggest mistake of the war in Iraq. Okay? Paul Bremer disbanded the Iraqi army because they were Baathists, and so you had a bunch of young men in neighborhoods with no money and guns. Okay? And that is not a good combination. And then we kept bringing in pallets of cash. These pallets would have $9 billion in cash on them. And we were giving out money like we were the bank. And we were the bank. So that was our biggest single mistake in that particular war. The second biggest single mistake is that we did not have a plan for victory and what victory looked like. And we have made that mistake since the Korean War, okay? These one-year war cycles that we do where we change the leadership, we change the people, we do all this kind of stuff, that there is no incentive to actually come up with a plan for victory to get us home. The incentive is to look good in your year that you're there and then get your medal and all that kind of stuff and go back. And I think we're going to change that going forward. I'm going to talk in depth about the Israeli deal and where we are. And, of course, I'm going to Israel the first week in November. I'm very excited about that. I think it's going to be a great trip. But I think that what we have to look at is the fact that Israel is a democracy that tries to make their lives of their people better, and they value life. And the only thing that you have to know to prove that is that they will trade hundreds of Palestinian prisoners for one Israeli. And when I say Israeli, about 20% of the hostages, I might be wrong about that number, it might be 10%, were Arabs. Many of them said as they were being taken into captivity, I'm an Arab. Hamas didn't care. If you were living in the kibbutz, they were going to go after you. And I want to say this one more time, and I've said it many times, but I want people to understand this if they understand nothing else. You can be firm about your beliefs and still be positive. And I want us all to work on that. You can be firm on your beliefs and still be positive. But secondly, the people that were attacked on October 7th were the most likely people to support a Palestinian state. They were living close to that border because they were open-minded about that. Many of those people were driving Palestinians back and forth to doctor's appointments, back and forth to work, going into Gaza on a daily basis and being a humanitarian to the people in Gaza. The problems of the people in Gaza did not start with the IDF coming in. Hamas had been starving those people for years. Same thing with the Nova Music Festival. It was a festival for peace. So they killed and maimed and murdered and kidnapped and made hostages of people that were on their side. How crazy is that? We'll be back on the Martha Zoller Show. We're going to talk to former Congressman Tom Graves. I cannot wait. We'll be back.
While technology has certainly changed the way people do business, it hasn't changed the way we treat our customers. It's Mike Cormier, and at Hardy Chevrolet, we are as committed to excellent customer service as the Hardys were when they started the business here in Gainesville over 4 decades ago. When it's time for a new or used vehicle, remember what Charles Hardy always said.
We love you and we need you.
Together, let's drive. At Hardy Chevrolet, Brownsbridge Road in Gainesville, online at hardychevrolet.com.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10 o'clock.
The families of 19 dead hostages keep waiting.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
It's been a torturous few days here. We came here on Sunday, prepared to receive him on Monday.
But Omer Nutra's remains were not handed over to Israel and still haven't been. He's one of 2 Americans among the 19, and his mother, Orna, tells Fox.
And it's been worse since because Hamas, every day is keeping everyone on edge.
Only 9 bodies have been returned so far. Fox's Trey Yingst reports from Tel Aviv.
Hamas says it has released all of the remains that it can locate. The group says that significant efforts and specialized equipment are needed to locate the others. U.S. officials saying Hamas is not in violation of the agreement and that Phase 2 will move forward as planned. Part of that next phase will include an international stabilization force that has oversight from the U.S. military, but not American boots on the ground to participate.
We're getting an update from Israel on the attacks in Yemen targeting Iran-backed Houthi rebels. The Israeli defense minister posted on X today that an August airstrike killed the Houthis' chief of staff. Venezuela's leader, Nicolas Maduro, who's wanted in the U.S. with a $50 million reward for his arrest for drug trafficking, is calling for peace, warning the U.S. is attempting regime change after President Trump acknowledged covert CIA operations underway inside Venezuela after blowing up 5 drug boats off the coast. U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Mike Waltz, tells Fox.
These are designated terrorist gangs, and President Trump is going to do whatever it takes.
The Senate will try again today to end the standoff over funding the government on day 16 of the shutdown. 9 earlier votes all failed.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune has reportedly signaled to Democrats, though, that he is willing to make a deal with them and give them a vote on extending the Affordable Care Act subsidies if they will agree to reopen the government.
That's Fox's Aisha Hasni at the Capitol. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
WDUN. From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow, and a fundraiser has been started for the family of victims from Monday's deadly crash on I-85 in Jackson County. WDUN's Caleb Hutchins reports.
8 people were killed Monday afternoon when their van was rear-ended by a tractor-trailer on 85 northbound near Commerce. Tony Alvarenga, who says the victims were his family members, has since set up a GoFundMe to try to cover funeral expenses for the family. You can find a link to the GoFundMe at Access WDUN. The driver of the truck that caused the collision has been arrested on a list of charges, including multiple counts of second-degree homicide by vehicle.
Gwinnett County's law enforcement is taking extra precautions to help residents remove and dispose of unwanted or expired drugs from the community. All precinct headquarters will now have Narcex medication disposal receptacles in their main lobbies. Residents can dispose of expired or unwanted pills, tablets, and capsules into the receptacles during normal business hours. A release from Gwinnett Police says the receptacles will help the community to avoid accidental misuse of drugs and to prevent environmental contamination from improper disposal. A new hearing has been ordered for a Gwinnett County man who was convicted of killing his 2-year-old son over 20 years ago. WDUN's Hamilton Keener reports on the latest decision from the Supreme Court of Georgia.
The Supreme Court ruled Wednesday morning that a Gwinnett County trial court must hold another evidentiary hearing for Daniel Smith. Smith was previously convicted of felony murder and aggravated battery in the 2003 death of his son Chandler. The child's cause of death at that time was ruled to be shaken baby syndrome. Smith has been requesting a new trial, arguing that new science surrounding brain injury since his conviction could potentially rule out SBS as the child's cause of death. An evidentiary hearing for that request was held last month, with a Gwinnett court denying his request. The state Supreme Court, however, now says that court did not use the appropriate legal framework to make its decision.
And one school system has released its ACT scores for the class of 2025. WDUN's Lawson Smith has the good news.
The Gainesville City School System said Wednesday that the class of 2025 had a composite average score of 22.3, an increase from the average score of 20.4 in 2024. The average results exceeded both the Georgia state average of 21.4 and the national average of 19.4. A full breakdown of the performance across all subject areas tested is on Access WDUN.
There's more news online at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
Lots of sunshine, and by the time the afternoon rolls around, we'll be in the mid to upper 70s for highs. We do keep things clear through the evening. Lows 51. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Beaufort, 65 degrees, Dillard, 63, and in Gainesville, 64. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
It's football time, which means Thursday and Sunday take their
their rightful place as the best days of the week. Well, those 2 days just got better because now through October 26th, Keno has 30% higher payouts during bonus hours. Say it with me. Higher Keno payouts on Thursdays and Sundays during bonus hours. Win $500, it becomes $650. That's like getting extra field goal points for scoring a touchdown. So play Keno online and anywhere Keno is sold and get 30% higher payouts during bonus hours. Thursdays 6 to 8 p.m. and Sundays 1 to 3 p.m. Keno bonus hours only through October 26th and only from the Georgia Lottery. Please play responsibly. Always check and sign your ticket.
Play the Georgia Lottery anytime, anywhere on any device with Powerball, Mega Millions, Keno, and more. Win up to $400,000 instantly with over 50 fun DigiGames. Play now at PlayDigi.com. That's PlayDigi.com.
Tune in to WSB Channel 2 for your official Georgia Lottery drawing and check out the Players Club at GALottery.com.
Talking about the issues that affect you most. It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. Now from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, here's Martha Zoller on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
Sources are telling me that the whole reason that the Democrats are doing this is because they want to be there for next weekend's No King's March in Washington, where you're going to see these activists march in Washington this coming Saturday. One senator told me that the groups are threatening Minority Leader Schumer, telling him, you better do this and keep the government closed or we will make you irrelevant. And so do you believe that's what this is about? It's more theatrics than really any, marriage to these Obamacare subsidies?
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and joining me right now is somebody that has a little bit of experience with all this craziness in Washington and has kept a level head. Former Representative Tom Graves is here with me right now. He's spent a lot of time since he's been out of Congress working on the temperature in the Congress, and we couldn't wait to talk to him today. Tom, how are you?
I'm great. Good morning. Good to be back with you.
So just give me your lay of the land before we get into the issues of kind of where we are today related to the shutdown and all the other stuff that's happening.
Yeah, the lay of the land. I mean, Washington is it is really unsettled right now. I mean, that's the I guess the most diplomatic way to say it. Watching what's happening with the shutdown, how Republicans and Democrats are really not working together at all, and it is the responsibility of the minority party to work with the majority party, no matter who's in charge, and they're refusing to do that. And that clip you just played, shows you that there is a movement outside the Democrat Party that is controlling them right now, and I would hope they're not fearful of an outside organization, but they were elected to represent their districts or to represent their state, and they should do that, not represent outside organizations' interests.
Because there are about 6 other senators that are Democrat senators, including ours here from Georgia, that are in states that President Trump won just a year ago. Okay, and you would think that they would have the freedom to vote their conscience, which I would think would be with the voters of their state, not necessarily
Right.
the caucus. And that's my biggest kind of sadness about where we are compared to where we were 10 to 20 years ago, is there seems to be more loyalty to the caucus that you are in than the constituents you represent.
Yeah, that's the point. I think back to when I was first elected, Barack Obama was president, and I obviously did not agree with his policies or his party and their position or platform, but I didn't want to see him fail. If he were to fail, then that meant the country's in a bad direction, going in a bad direction. And that's what's occurring today, though, is that Democrats just dislike President Trump so much that they can't even agree with him on things they actually agree on, and they can't do that publicly. It's a sad time when you reach that stage. They should be celebrating successes, regardless of who's in charge, and supporting things they support. So a good example, government shutdown we're in right now, is all about this, what's called a CR, which is continuing resolution. And that is a tool of the minority. It always has been known as that. It's an extension of the previous administration's policies and funding levels. And now they are against their own past policies and funding levels. And so it's backwards. It's like upside down world right now.
Do you think, Tom, that like if you have a conversation, and I'm sure you're still in the place where you talk to some of these folks, you know, when you have a conversation with them, I got to believe they see this, you know, that they see that they voted for this same CR basically 13 times, and now they're saying they voted for it in March. Now they're saying it's not good enough, and it's like they don't care that they don't make sense.
Yeah, it's not a rational argument in any way right now to, shut the government down for this reason. And they're saying the ACA extension of something that's not even expired right now, right? So it's the wrong reason to do it. It is a leverage point, and maybe you can get some spending level changes or some things like that. But look, you've got an appropriations process too. Just roll with that. You've been doing that in the Senate, bipartisan, just keep moving forward with that. So they have a sentiment of bipartisanship at one point, but then when it becomes public and President Trump says, hey, I'm for this, let's do this, it's the right thing right now, and let's finish it later, then all of a sudden they're opposed to it. And so that's the sad state we're in, and I hope we get through that. It's been frustrating, and how did we get here? I think, to be honest with you, I've been out for 5 years, and I've watched it erode so rapidly. But COVID had a large part to do with that, particularly in the House when Nancy Pelosi was keeping members apart, and metal detectors were going up, and members were being fined if they didn't wear a mask. And, you couldn't have in-person meetings. You couldn't have in-person committee meetings. The Senate was open environment, none of those rules. The Capitol had an imaginary line down the middle of it. You walked from one side to the other, and you were under, different penalties or no penalties. And you've seen that trust in open relationships just dissolve over time, and now it's clearly bled over to the Senate.
So what are your because I know you worked very hard to try to get I don't want to use the word moderate, but people in Congress and the Senate that would work together, and that's one of your things you've done in your post career of in the Congress, but. How do you think, because I'm an optimist by nature, okay? So I kind of think we're almost at the end of this cycle, and I can see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel because I think that you're starting to see people like John Fetterman and others to say, wait a minute, this is not making sense. I'm an American before I'm a Democrat, or I'm an American before I'm a Republican. And we got to get back to that. Are you optimistic at all?
Yeah, I am. And I'm optimistic because you've seen a lot of really good House members, former House members, move to the Senate, get elected to the Senate. The Jim Banks, the James Lankfords, the Steve Daines, the Tim Scotts, and others who have that appetite for working together with folks, finding, some areas in which you can agree. And my whole point has been, look, principles are important, and everybody should hold to their principles. But preferences are totally different. Let's talk about those. And then there's going to be things that we're probably never going to agree on. But I still want to understand your position. Doesn't mean you're going to change my position or principles, but maybe I'll have a better understanding of where you're coming from. And that's what I've been working with members, and just talking with, especially incoming members, is just look. No matter where somebody's from, whatever their party affiliation is or their background, just take time to get to know them, because it's a lot easier to work with somebody you have a friendship with than with somebody that you're criticizing and hating all the time, right? It's very simple that way. And so I developed so many great friendships with people. Maybe I didn't vote with them or vote alike or agree 100% with, but I could have a friendship with them and later, have a better understanding of their point of view. And then maybe as a result of that friendship, they have a better understanding of my point of view and maybe might shift in my direction a little bit, right? You're trying to move or persuade. The easiest way to do that is through trust.
No, absolutely. I saw a funny exchange between Tim Burchett and AOC where they evidently have this kind of relationship where they make fun of each other and they they are very cordial and collegial with each other, even though they don't vote together at all on things. And I was encouraged to see that because, You know, I don't think any one person is the devil, you know what I mean? It's like, I think that AOC gets a lot of attention that I'm not sure she's ready for, but she's getting it anyway, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I do think that we've got a lot of things that have to happen, whether it's, you know, making sure that we have the support we need for the president related to his foreign policy goals, or making sure we have the resources we need for things like the military and that sort of thing. So what's your advice to us as we move forward through all of this?
Just keep it in perspective that, you know, you probably only, you know, can recognize or know 8 to 10 names, you know, 12 maybe or so in the House and the Senate. That means there's about 530 others or 520 others, I'm sorry, you know, that are doing their job, that are getting along, that are working hard. Because, you know, it's a large body, there's a lot of personalities, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of great people, Republican and Democrat, who are working together in the right direction. But when you have thin majorities, it only takes a few to disrupt that, and those are that's the noise that breaks through the most. And so just keep it all in perspective. Still live in the greatest country on the planet, and we ebb and flow with who's in charge and who's in a majority and minority, and it's always going to flip and flop here in that direction. But it is still a wonderful place and spirited, and we got to love the spirited side of it, you know.
Yeah, I always tell everybody you really need to read, if you haven't read, Democracy in America, because it is, you know, by de Tocqueville, because it is, you know, a really, you see that they had the same kind of problems in the early days of our republic that we have now. You know, people really don't change that much. And you've just got to find different ways to deal with it. And there's a lot more noise today because of social media and things like that. There's almost no ability to actually negotiate in private. And so it makes it more difficult to handle all kinds of things.
Right. And the key is don't make it personal. You know, don't judge people, you know, for what they believe or what they're thinking. Everybody has an opportunity to develop their thoughts and positions over time. So, you know, just have strong relationships with folks that maybe you just don't agree with. And this means in the community too, right? Because oftentimes we get labeled or we label others incorrectly, and we should just, you know, guard against doing that. But incredible country, a lot of spirit, and it's still strong, and you're seeing the strength of it as we push through even these current days.
Now, can people help you with the projects you're working on right now?
You know, I enjoy the opportunity to address folks and give them insight into what's really happening and how they can make a difference in, you know, whether it's local or even state level. And understanding how, especially at the workplace, right, where that's where a lot of the conversations occur, and that's where some disagreements occur, you know, even churches, other places like that, where, you know, folks let politics divide them. So I enjoy any opportunity like that to talk with folks and give them encouragement, optimism about where things are, and to, you know, try to take the temperature down just a little bit.
Representative Tom Graves, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for the hard work you do for this country. It doesn't go unnoticed.
Thank you so much, Martha. Great to be with you.
Thank you. We'll take a break. When we come back, lots more to come.
Fuel our discussions with your opinions.
We need to talk about common sense here.
We're the station that gives you a voice.
It's my local station.
We're North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Aren't you glad that cooler weather and the fall planting season is here? This is Kelly, and Full Bloom Nursery is stocking up on beautiful mums and fall annuals. Plus, we're fully stocked with 4 acres of perennial shrubs and trees. Since 2003, Full Bloom Nursery has been helping customers all over North Georgia. To get started on your projects, give us a call at 678-616-3035. Visit fullbloomnursery.com for more info, and be sure to like us on Facebook to see what's growing.
The weather has changed, and here come the leaves. Get ahead of the work with Stihl's backpack and handheld blowers. They make the fall cleanup quick. If you need a handheld blower with those small spaces, a backpack blower for bigger jobs, or a powerful professional model to really make those leaves fly, Stihl's got it all. Find your next Stihl product at Howard Brothers. Their friendly team can help find the perfect Stihl blower to keep those pesky leaves out of your way. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Stihl and Howard Brothers.
Whether it's a slip that ends in a slip disc, a trick knee that's holding you back, or shoulder pain hurting your game, you can count on Northside Hospital Orthopedics. With leading care in Georgia at convenient locations all across the state, we're here to get you back on your feet, no matter what comes your way. Because Georgia moves us, and we keep Georgia moving. Find a provider near you at northside.com/ortho. That's northside.com/ORTHO.
Building, moving, remodeling, they all create more waste than will fit in your average garbage can. Thank goodness for Waste Eliminator. They offer roll-off dumpsters in all sizes. Just visit wasteeliminator.com, click on Order Dumpster, and they'll deliver just what you need. From simple home cleanout to large commercial projects, Waste Eliminator handles it all. Schedule your roll-off dumpster today at wasteeliminator.com. Environmentally responsible and committed to customer service. It's Waste Eliminator.
Buying or selling real estate. We do so much more than just open doors. Buying a home encompasses a 180-item checklist. I'll be glad to share it with you. Our commission is our success fee. You need Norton now more than ever. I'm Frank Norton with the Norton Agency. Call us at 770-532-0022 or look for us on the web at gonorton.com. Our family serving North Georgia for 4 generations.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, a GoFundMe account is set to help cover funeral services for 8 victims of Monday's fiery crash in Jackson County. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN talk and text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
That's why shutting the government is really what the Democratic Party wants to do. And I follow country, then party. And it's the wrong thing for the country in a period of chaos. I refuse to vote to shut our government down. I absolutely would love to have... I would love to have a conversation about extending the tax credits for health care. Absolutely. But I would remind everybody, too, this was designed by the Democratic Party to expire at the end of the year. This is not something taken by the Republicans. They were designed to expire. Now let's have a conversation to extend it and not shut our government down.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and that was John Fetterman talking about the whole situation that we're in right now, which is pretty amazing. You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. You can also text us at that number. And I got a nice message from Joe that said, hey, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you think about Israel. I'm glad you're back. Thank you. I'm glad that you're happy that I'm back. We've talked a little bit about Israel today, and then we're going to be really in depth tomorrow with Shondell Summer on where we are, because there are some ups and downs with what's happened, not surprisingly. Folks, we got to understand there is really no Hamas leadership right now. So many of them have been eliminated by the IDF, as well as now there's no funding coming in from Iran because they don't have any money. And so you have this situation now where there's some factions there, and that's something we need to be very careful about in the world. There's some factions out there that are trying to do their own thing within the borders of Gaza. And there are a lot of young men with guns that are not getting paid. And we don't know if these executions that are happening on the street in Gaza are executions by Hamas, quote, proper, unquote, or if it's some faction that's split off. We just don't know, okay? But as the president said yesterday, is that they will return the bodies of the hostages that they have, and they will disarm, or we will disarm them, and we will do it quickly, and it may be violent. That's what the president said. So they're going to have to hold up to their agreement. And the difference is we're going to have the support of the entire Arab world in doing this, and that they are going to be helping. Okay, I'm sure we're going to see some help from Jordan. Egypt's already gone into Gaza to look at certain things. There are differences that in this particular agreement that we have never seen before in the Middle East. Now, I'm a Bible-believing Christian, okay? And I've read the book and I know how it ends. Okay. Israel's going to be fine in the long run, but it could be rocky getting there. Okay. And I believe that to the core of my being. I am, I believe what is written in the Bible as being the inerrant word of God. So, I'm not worried about it from a day-to-day situation. But I do agree with people that, who wants to see the kind of suffering that's anywhere in the world? And, we need to put, Hillary Clinton got criticized and made fun of for her reset button. Okay. She wanted to reset with Russia, I think is what the context was. I think we do need a reset button in the world. Okay. We need to step up and say, okay, we need to keep it local where you vote, you parent your children, and you have face-to-face conversations with people. You also need to understand that you can be firm about your positions without being negative and putting people down. That's a you and me kind of thing that needs to happen. Okay, we need to be better in how we deal with people. We need to be more open. And I know there are people out there that you can't deal with. I know that. Okay, but you got to try. You got to try every day. You got to get up every morning. I get up every morning and go to bed every night saying, thank you, Lord, for another day. And I think it's really the extensive loss I have had in my life over the last 12 years where I've lost my sister, I've lost my mom, I've lost my brother. Recently I lost my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law, and I have just had a lot of loss. And that will either take you down the hole of grief to where you can't make it anymore, especially those sudden deaths, or you've got to get up and live the way they would want you to live, okay? And you've got to put one foot in front of the other. And we've got to do that in our communities. I call that putting the rock in the water and watching the ripples go out. You've got to control what you can control in your own life. Okay, number one. Number two, yes, have opinions about things all around the world, but take care of you and yours first. If you take care of your own house and your own backyard first, then we're not going to have all of these problems. And then you got to talk to your friends and neighbors about that. And I think that we've got this migration issue around certain areas of the world. And it is a problem when you have people creating communities where they are separating themselves from the rest of the community politic, if you will, and they are trying to set up a different way of living. And this is not like Chinatown, Germantown, Little Italy, the kinds of places that are set up in cities and communities all across this country. These are people that want to, it's not as much in the United States as it is in Western Europe. But there are places where people are trying to set up their own way of doing things. And that's just not going to work. Stay, and I'm not one of these go home to your own country kind of people, but if you don't want to come here and live and assimilate and be an American, just the question, why are you coming here? It is the Martha Zoller Show. Next up, we're going to be talking to Kelly Loeffler, SBA Administrator, about small businesses and the government shutdown. We'll be back.
Northeast Georgia's premier dermatology providers at Dermatology Associates of Northeast Georgia offers medical and cosmetic dermatology services to keep your skin healthy and radiant. Our experienced medical providers remind you of the importance of annual skin exams to help prevent skin cancer. With 1 in 5 Americans facing this risk, booking your annual full skin exam is essential to your well-being. Contact us to book your appointment at any of our 3 locations in Gainesville, Demarest, or Dahlonega. Visit us online at negeorgiaderm.com to learn more.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication on your accounts, report phishing, and update your software on all your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information, but also fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. So stay smart, stay safe, and stay protected with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK. Terms do apply.
In the poultry capital of the world, we know good chicken when we taste it. But who cooks it the best? It's Bill Main. Join me as we find out at the annual Chicken Festival. Come sample, compete in the wing eating contest, and stick around to see who wins Georgia's official chicken cook-off. It takes place this Saturday from 11 until 4:30 at Lake Lanier Olympic Park. So come on and chow down with North Georgia's News Talk.
WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10:30.
Fox News, I'm CJ Papa. The bodies of 19 hostages killed by Hamas remain in Gaza. 2 are U.S. citizens, including Omer Nutra, who died during the October 7th attack. His dad, Ronan, earlier on Fox and Friends.
They need to come out. And you know, the alternative, if they don't come out, this ceasefire is going to collapse. And this is going to be horrible. We may lose our boy forever.
Fox's Trey Yanks in Tel Aviv.
Hamas says it has released all of the remains that it can locate. The group says that significant efforts and specialized equipment are needed to locate the others. U.S. officials saying Hamas is not in violation of the agreement and that Phase 2 will move forward as planned.
Yemen's Houthi rebels confirming the killing of its military chief of staff during an Israeli airstrike in August. The partial government shutdown rolls into day 16. No end in sight. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow, and a fundraiser has been started for the family of victims from Monday's deadly crash on I-85 in Jackson County. WDUN's William Daughtry reports.
8 people were killed Monday afternoon when their van was rear-ended by a tractor-trailer on 85 northbound near Commerce. Tony Alvarenga, who says the victims were his family members, has since set up a GoFundMe to try to cover funeral expenses for the family. You can find a link to the GoFundMe at Access WDUN.
Gwinnett County's law enforcement will make it easier for residents to remove and dispose of unwanted or expired drugs from their homes. WDUN's Logan Landers with details.
Gwinnett's police headquarters in each precinct will now have Narc-X medication disposal receptacles in their main entrance lobbies. Residents can dispose of expired or unwanted pills, tablets, and capsules into these receptacles during normal weekday business hours at their local stations. A release from Gwinnett Police says the receptacles are to help the community to avoid accidental misuse of the drugs and to prevent environmental contamination from improper disposals.
And Atlanta is being called one of the best cities in the U.S. for singles. Zumper posted a listing this week that ranks Atlanta 4th out of 100 that were analyzed, and Atlanta was noted for entertainment scenes, restaurants, and number of unmarried residents. You'll find more news online at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
Good Thursday morning, lots of sunshine, and by the time the afternoon rolls around, we'll be in the mid to upper 70s for highs. We do keep things clear through the evening. Lows overnight near 51. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Brazelton, 68 degrees, Clarksville, 67, and in Gainesville, 68. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
There's nothing like cool, crisp air of fall in North Georgia after a hot, humid summer. Conditioned Air Systems is here to get your HVAC system ready for the changing seasons. With regular maintenance that saves you money on your energy bill, and look no further for quick, reliable plumbing repairs or installation services. Conditioned Air Systems has been a trusted name in Northeast Georgia for over 45 years. Call us today at 1-800-AC-REPAIR.
It seems like every day we're upgrading our smart devices. When was the last time you updated your eyes? Hi, this is Kim at Advanced Eye Center. Dr. Ackerman and Dr. Evans have more than 35 years combined experience. See why we're voted best in Hall County. Choose custom all-laser LASIK or specialty lenses with laser cataract surgery. At Advanced Eye Center in Gainesville, we have a choice that is right for you. Advanced Eye Center, vision correction for all ages.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
So one of the things we're going to talk about is how real it is here, right?
I'm working here since I'm 12. That's 48 years.
There is no more working class, diverse neighborhood than the Bronx.
Right now, to be a small business in New York has been very hard, and we're really worried about what's going to happen in the future here.
That's why it's so important to have you here to come here and help the small businesses and help the people.
President Trump, he knows that our firefighters, our welders, our waitresses are the ones who get it done. And when government gets big, it crowds out small businesses like this because of taxes and regulation.
We have a guy named Mondami running for mayor here in New York City, one who's embraced socialist policies, which scares all of us.
You cannot say defund the police to me in the Bronx.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. So I'm here with Kelly Loeffler, who I'm so happy to have in the studio with us. Welcome.
Thank you, Martha. It's great to be here looking out on the beautiful Gainesville Town Square. What a lovely office you have.
Isn't it great?
Stunning. Great studio.
Yeah, and you were in the Bronx a week or so ago. I love that.
I was in the Bronx about 3 weeks ago, just before the shutdown, and I was really thrilled to be able to get there. We had a lot of great conversations with small businesses, and that's what I do every single week is get across the country and spend time talking to small businesses because they're our job creators. They're the backbone of this economy. And you see that here in Gainesville, too.
So what do you hear as you go around? What are their biggest concerns?
Well, I mean, I've gone from coast to coast. I mean, from California to Maine and all points in between. And you mentioned the Bronx. We think about what's going on in New York with that mayoral election. I mean, those small business owners are already suffering from massive state and local regulation. And so we're there telling them we're at the federal level, we are deregulating as fast as we can so that small businesses don't have that added tax of regulatory compliance costs. I grew up in a small family business, a small trucking company and a family farm. I saw my parents struggling with paperwork. That's the last thing they need at the end of a long day, trying to make payroll for their employees and put food on our table. So we're talking particularly to blue states about how to deregulate and work with state and local. But we also hear a skilled workforce is a huge challenge for our small businesses because they create 2 out of every 3 new jobs in this country. They are the job creators, and they generate about 46% of our GDP. So a skilled workforce is going to help grow this economy and help onboard more people into this booming economy that President Trump has set up.
Yeah, I saw some number that was crazy. Like there's going to be the need for something like 140,000 welders over the next 10 years to build all these submarines that we want to build and ships because we want to bring shipbuilding back to America and do that sort of thing. And that was just mind-boggling to me.
Well, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, Martha. And this is why we have our Made in America manufacturing tour. As I've walked literally probably 150 factory floors now and talked to those business owners. Now, most manufacturers in America are small businesses, which is so great because it means that we can do more with less. That is what America is becoming, is a smart, automated manufacturing, but it's creating industries that we could never have here if we didn't have smart manufacturing that has the support of AI, automation, and then, you walk into a factory and it maybe has 50 to 100 employees, but they're producing parts for a major defense contractor. They're reshoring industries that left this country 30 years ago and hollowed out our main streets and our small towns like the one I grew up in. And so I'm so excited to see the convergence of technology and manufacturing, and we call it the new blue-collar boom.
So one of the things I mentor with a lot of young people, and I see a big difference between the people that are like in their late 30s who maybe have already bought their first home, or maybe they already had their job. They might have made a job change, whatever. And the people that are younger than that, the 25 to 35 range, where this would normally be where they would buy their first house, but they're not doing that because they've gotten so expensive. And the job change world is, I think it's gotten too AI, if you want to know the truth. I think we need to have a little more human interaction in this job search business. That's what I'm hearing from the kids I'm mentoring. What are you hearing when you go across the country?
Well, what I'm seeing right now certainly is still there's hundreds of thousands of jobs. I mean, literally millions of jobs open across the country, about 7.5 million, but 600,000 manufacturing jobs. So we still need people that are electricians and welders and HVAC. I mean, these are professional trades that you can do right out of high school with certifications. So, but what I'm really hearing is that we just need to make sure our kids have a good educational foundation. We've perhaps overemphasized what I call 6-year college, because now it takes an average of 6 years to get through school, and too many schools don't have a 50% graduation rate after 4 years. I find that shocking, particularly when you think about students accumulating student loans. And then you mentioned they're not able to buy homes, not only because during the last 4 years under Biden, we had massive inflation that was probably underreported at 20%. It's probably much higher. I think many small businesses saw their costs double. And many families saw their costs just go up much higher than 20%. So they're burdened with excessive high prices. Then they've got, which now have stabilized, and that's why I'm advocating for interest rates to continue to come down. We have structurally unnecessarily high interest rates, but I think we're going to get there on this glide path. But we've got to create this opportunity for people to get into the economy through good paying jobs. And that's going to come through some use of technology, but skilling young people in the right way to have those productive jobs.
So how has your job changed since the government shut down?
Well, the Schumer shutdown is incredibly unfortunate. It, we have federal workers, we have our military that are not getting paid, that are, trying to do what they can to keep the government running for the American people, while Schumer stands there and says, every day this goes on, it gets better for us. Well, it gets worse for the American people. And thanks to President Trump, our military is getting paid because he's been creative about ensuring that the military funds get shifted over to pay our troops.
And he shifted tariff funds over to pay the WIC.
That's
payments.
Right.
Yes.
Women, infants, and children nutrition program. So, but that's only going to last so long. So how has my job changed? I'm obviously not able to travel around the country, and there's certain things that we can't do, which are critical to our mission. Chief among them are funding small businesses to the tune of 320 small businesses every single day in this country are not able to close on their commercial bank loans, depriving Main Streets of $170 million every single day in needed capital. And so far that's been over $2 billion. It's about 4,000 small businesses that have been shut out. And what does that mean? It means we've already seen people closing their doors because federal contracts, which we also oversee, have been put a stop service order on them. So they have stop work orders. They've had to lay off people. So, the Schumer shutdown is turning into the Schumer layoffs. And it doesn't get better for their side. And this is a CR. It's a clean continuing resolution that they've already passed 4 times. In fact, it's a Democrat-authored resolution. It's the same one they've been passing.
You probably voted on that once or twice.
Well, I haven't been up there for a while, but but I would say most Democrats have voted for that already. Yes. And 3 of them have already come over and said, yeah, we should reopen the government. I understand that they want to have a policy discussion, but I think everyone also understands that this is not the way to do it, by hurting the American people.
No, and I agree with that. I think it's so interesting to watch these arguments flip. This is like what they used to say they wanted was a clean CR, which is what this is. And then to have the discussion about issues related to healthcare or whatever it is they want to talk about. But I think it's a pretty firm no that we are not going to give healthcare benefits to illegal immigrants. That's something the American people do not want.
Well, and that was, they had a chance to vote on that in the Senate this summer when we passed the Working Families Tax Cut that averted a $4 trillion tax hike on every hardworking American, that also provided, in addition to the biggest tax cut in American history, it also provided for an increased child tax credit. It provided for increased health savings accounts, and so $50 billion for rural hospitals. The list goes on and on. And so Democrats are mad about that bill passing, and they're doing everything they can to undo it, to tax the American people, to pay for benefits who refuse to work, and for over 1.4 million illegal aliens who it is not lawful to provide health care, but they're looking for every loophole that they can because they're catering to the far left wing of the party. And that's what you're going to see this weekend at their Hate America rally in Washington, which is why they can't reopen the government, because Chuck Schumer has to try to restore his credentials to the far radical left, that he is still on the team. I think that's beyond saving, but we can still save this economic momentum that we have, which is absolutely what they're trying to stop right now.
And I don't disagree that healthcare needs some discussion. I mean, my husband owns a small business that handles medical staffing in a correctional setting, and we've had this business since 2013, and that's all under ACA, okay? And it's just become harder and harder and harder and harder to get small group insurance if you have less than 50 employees through that period of time. Much harder to get, more expensive to get, right? And the percentage that we've been able to pay on our side, I mean, if he wants to pay full premiums. I mean, that's what he'd like to do, but we can't afford to do that. And then we have to find that balance between what can we feel good about charging our employees for their portion, and then what can we pay to help? And that's an argument that small business owners are having every day.
Every day. I heard it when I was in the Senate going around the state. I remember, being at so many small businesses and saying, first of all, it's so unaffordable, but second of all, the goalposts keep moving. So as soon as I comply with one reg on healthcare, they change the rules on that, and I simply cannot afford it. So we know that there are challenges, but we have what we have. That's where we are. But I will say this administration has already done more on healthcare in 10 months. If you think about the MFN clause in the pharmaceutical industry, where the most favored nations, where the United States is now going to benefit from healthcare innovation that we create, but yet we export around the world. They get a massive discount, and our consumers are paying 10x the cost of someone in Europe who didn't invest in that innovation. So look, this is an innovative administration. I'm so humbled to be part of a cabinet that most of us are from the private sector. We're bringing these experiences to bear as business owners, as people who have said, we're fed up, we're stepping out of our private sector to go make a difference up there. And so if we can just reopen the government, we can continue to bring these innovative solutions to lower the cost, because like I said, we are where we are. We have the healthcare law we have. We follow it. The Democrats want us to create something completely new that funds yet another entitlement that American families cannot bear.
Yeah, and I got to believe when you look at the second Trump term, it was kind of a blessing in disguise that he had those 4 years in between. I mean, God's got a plan. I mean, and he felt like we needed these 4 years in between to kind of see what we were missing. But I think he's different. I don't want you to take offense at this at all, because people accuse me of not being Trumpy enough. But I am for President Trump. I voted for him 3 times. But I will jokingly say right now, Donald Trump is the most reasonable voice in the room. The rest of the people that are opposing him sound so crazy. And, he used to be the guy that people said were crazy. He was never crazy. He was always crazy as a fox, right? But he is reasonable. He's talking about things. He's promising things. Charlemagne the God of all people said, don't tell me what you can't do as president anymore. We've seen Donald Trump. Donald Trump is showing us what you can do as president, and it's amazing to watch.
Well, it's two sides of a coin, which is Trump has always been right. He has always been right. It's the mainstream, the legacy media that has characterized him in a way that was not ever accurate. In fact, the deep state and Washington set about trying to set him up, couldn't touch him. And now look, everything's being revealed about what their actions were, whether it was Comey or Jack Smith, and the list goes on and on. These all turn out to be frauds, and the president was right all along. And he's been right about this country. We've sold out our working families to China. We've sold out our middle class manufacturing and main streets, and he is bringing it back because he believes in the American worker and American industry. He's putting America first, and the legacy media resisted that narrative, and they wanted to do it in favor of the elites on both coasts and saying, we're going to cater to the far left, and that just didn't hold water when President Trump won every single swing state and 2,500 counties or 3,500 counties across the country, and they won, 50?
Yeah. So. I mean, and it's only, 11 months ago.
That's right.
it's, in a few weeks, it'll be it'll be a year, but it's an amazing thing. If people need help from the SBA, how can they do that?
Well, the SBA does a number of things. Our chief objective is to advance the interest and the success of small business, and we do that through capital, because the number one thing small businesses need is capital, whether to invest, to grow, to manage cash flow, to have that working capital. We've innovated around that. We're expanding our loan limits. Last year, we had a record year at the SBA in the 72-year history. Our year wrapped up September 30th. We did 85,000 loans totaling $45 billion. And just for your listeners to know, we do this as a zero subsidy program, so no cost to taxpayers when the programs run properly. We also manage essentially like business counseling through our small business development centers, largely on campuses across the country. So if you have a business plan, you want to walk through it, it's available at no charge. And then, of course, we do federal contracting for businesses that want to contract with the federal government. It's the largest purchaser in the world at over $1 trillion of purchases. Small businesses get about $189 billion of that. About 5,000 here in Georgia are small business federal contractors. And then the last thing is disaster relief. So we provide those disaster recovery loans after hurricanes. I know we're at the 1-year anniversary of the tragic Helene, where the Biden SBA had run out of funds along with the entire Biden emergency response effort. And under President Trump, we have been there from day one on all disasters, whether it was in LA or whether it was President Trump came here even before he was elected in Georgia a year ago and North Carolina. And in fact, 73% of our disaster money this year went to the fires in LA that they have still not, 10 months ago, they have not rebuilt from.
They have not rebuilt. Kelly Loeffler, SBA Administrator, thank you so much for being with us today.
Martha.
Thank you. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll take you up to the top of the hour.
Todd Starnes.
But if you want to talk about problems, talk about Joe Biden, who literally funded Iran's nuclear program.
It's the Todd Starnes Show, weekdays noon till 3 on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Some car dealers want to sell you a car. At Hardy Chevrolet, we'd rather help you find the vehicle that's right for you. This is Mike Cormier. We call it the Hardy Chevrolet difference. Since you're the one who will be in the driver's seat of that new Chevy, we think you should be in the driver's seat when it comes to making the selection. It's like Charles Hardy always said.
We love you and we need you.
Together, let's drive. At Hardy Chevrolet, Browns Bridge Road in Gainesville, online at hardychevrolet.com.
Fall has arrived, and with it, big jobs for your business. From leaf piles growing to debris cleanup, you'll need equipment that can keep up with the work. At Howard Brothers, they've got you covered with a full lineup of Skag street blowers, vacuums, and debris loaders. Some of the most powerful tools in the industry. With Skag, you'll tackle every job with ease and deliver the premium service your customers expect. You demand simply the best, and that's exactly what Skag delivers. Stop by your local Howard Brothers today and gear up for the fall work heading our way.
Would you take advice on how to collect money from the folks that owe it to you? That's exactly what you do when you let an insurance company steer you to their contract shop. At Nichols Body Shop, we earn our customers one at a time. We depend on repeat customers and referrals to keep our shop busy. When you need a repair shop, please consider picking a shop that works for you. Nichols Body Shop in Flowery Branch, where the best sign of a quality repair is no sign at all. Find us on Facebook or call 770-967-8200.
Cold weather will be here before you know it. At the same time, power outages are on the rise. So here's an important question. If the power goes out when it's really cold, do you have a way to stay warm? If not, you've got to check out the Avesta off-grid space heater from My Patriot Supply. It's a compact, portable space heater that doesn't use electricity. It runs on something called canned heat, which is an indoor safe fuel. It's completely off-grid, and it can heat up a 200 square foot room in a matter of minutes. With Avesta stashed in your closet, you can rest easy, knowing you and your family will stay warm, even if the power goes out. Plus, it doubles as a stove to boil water or cook food without electricity or propane. The best part is, you can get Avesta and a bunch of other free gifts when you order the Winter Prep Special from My Patriot Supply. Just go to mypatriotsupply.com to see everything included. This offer won't last long, and neither will this nice fall weather, so go to mypatriotsupply.com today. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, Gainesville City School System releases its ATC scores for the class of 2025, showing significant improvements. Details at Access WDUN. And coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and it was so great to talk to Kelly Loeffler, the SBA administrator. But we've known Kelly for a number of years. She was our United States Senator for a year, she created Greater Georgia. The thing I love about Kelly the most is she did not take her ball and go home after she lost her Senate race. She created Greater Georgia and got more conservative voters out to vote, got them registered, got them out to vote. They're still doing that. The Greater Georgia program or group has worked and is still working, and we had them on a couple of weeks ago. Want to remind you all that early voting started on Tuesday, so check where you can vote early. Folks, we got to get out and vote for these PSC races as well as these municipal races in the area. We don't want to allow really the Democrats to get this Public Service Commission situation under their hat, because they will stop all the growth that we have done and they will try to turn everything into green energy. So we need to make sure that we get out to vote during the early voting period or on election day. And then we'll get into 2026 races. So what you will expect to see on your ballot is you will see Public Service Commission races, and you will also see municipal races. And some municipalities have suspended their races, but you will still have those PSC races to vote on. So even if you may not have a mayor to vote on because there's no opposition, you will have a PSC to vote on. So you want to get out and do that. So want to just make sure that everything is representative. Now, tomorrow we're going to have Nan Hayworth, who is one of the former congresswomen that are going to talk about this government shutdown. I'm also going to get into extensive discussion about what's going on related to Israel, the hostages, the bodies. They're still waiting for them to be returned, what's going to happen with Hamas, and really what's happening on the ground with Hamas right now with their factions. Okay, now this is all kind of sketchy information, okay, but there are a lot of different things that are happening related to that. So we want to make sure that we have the best information for you and accurate. I'm very happy about the hostages being released. And, when you hear about people that haven't seen their loved ones, they've been in a dark tunnel for 2 years. They were given a crust of food. There was one guy who was kept in a cage for 2 years, was never anywhere else. Folks, we have got to understand what the right and wrong is in this situation, and we're going to keep talking about it right here. We want you to know we're always here. We're always local right here on WDUN. It's the Martha Zoller Show.